Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are people doing?
It's cold here.
It's cold here too. Who knew?
No, I know. I live there. It
Yeah,
gets cold, man.
it's cold. Yeah, it's a different experience. I mean, Sandy can probably also teach both of us, maybe. Um,
It's not nearly
even
as
more
bad
north.
here as in the rest of Canada.
Yeah, it's interesting how sub-zero temperatures, or I guess it's not sub-zero. It's freezing temperatures in Texas are different than freezing temperatures in New York City. At least, like you experience it very differently. Like in New York, you're in your apartment. The apartment can get too hot. You're kind of away from it. Like it's cold. It's like you deal with it. But in Austin, it's like it's more debilitating.
It's still fairly warm here. Everybody, of course, that's out shopping was complaining about how bitterly cold it is, but it's only minus 12 Celsius, which really isn't like we'll get up to 20, minus 25, minus 30. And I'm like, yeah, this is not that bad yet. Oh, so
Yeah.
I apologize. I have not been, I've been really tired all week. So
That's okay.
they'll be yawning.
So we're gonna cover our 3 last chapters.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I sneaked in 5 minutes of Henry Abramson's video, like conclusion video,
Yeah.
and he says that, and he mentioned how he asked if we feel like a different person. So I guess maybe I'll ask that of you. Do you feel anything different in your spirit, behavior, surroundings?
Not yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it does require.
I don't know if it counts as feeling different, but because it's not like I haven't thought of some of the, like I've thought about some of the concepts in here before, but I find myself, going back and reflecting on the interpretations of things and, how it's been explained. And so, yeah, I feel myself, I feel that I've got a different interest in it, but I don't know that's not quite what you're asking. So,
Yeah.
These chapters are ultra short.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
why are they so short?
Ran out of ink.
That's not why.
There's a shortage in Sfat around the 12th century. No, 13th century. 13th or 15th? I don't know.
well, let's just jump up to the 11th level straight away to start.
Yeah.
So on this one, it sounds like he's saying that we're supposed to be more patient with people who are kind.
Yeah.
Like kindness to Abraham. So like people who are going above and beyond deserve extra kindness themselves. Is that how you understood the text, the primary text?
does say that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, so that's one of the things that really surprised me. And I don't know if I was misunderstanding. I don't know if I was misunderstanding, but like in the Christian context at the church I went to, it would always be that you kind of give the most grace to the people that are sort of worse, not better.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming at it from the completely opposite direction. So that really stands out, because it's talking. These chapters are talking about how we approach things, not just with levels of kindness, but with different kinds of memory.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that it's completely the opposite. Because him saying you should be more patient with the good, the gracious, the good and the gracious. I don't know how he translates it. What do they say here? The righteous, good and pious. It doesn't necessarily follow that if somebody's really bad, you should be less patient to him. And I think that might, because it can, a few things can happen. Like if somebody's really bad, but they repent, they have some sort of, they repent, or they in a state of, or they're, you see that they can repent, or they're on their way, then like he said in another level here, you can show them even more, they're even more of your brother, right? I don't know what level that was. So that would be my only comment on that. Yeah.
I think it's like when you go to page when you go to page 191, well, he is talking about how God will be especially merciful to those with a history of being merciful. And then he goes to the verses that say, sorry, I was eating these really spicy onions earlier.
Is that a Scottish thing?
No. It's my son's thing. He makes this salad. But I feel like I'm still tasting them and my eyes are watering. Anyway, like he was can't see with eyes watering. He leans into it here. It might be in 12 where he actually says that, what is the verse? God showing his kindness or his love to the, thousandth generation of those who are.
Right.
And it seems like he's leaning into that framework here with this when he talks about being not that we're not patient and kind to other people, but that somehow our kindness takes into account the history that a person brings with them. So if they're from a long line of people who've, really walked through these, this process themselves, there's something about that he's saying, you give them an extra measure of forgiveness to those people who have a history of forgiving others. So I'm kind of like, that's interesting, because I don't remember that ever coming up really, except here. Not in those terms.
Yeah, so that kind of, so that way the two levels, 11 and 12, kind of meld together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, the one comment that I have on 11, and we can also kind of like start talking about 12 since you mentioned it, is that it kind of reminded me of, I don't know. I'll be interested to actually look at this study, or I don't know how this came about, but I just remember hearing this idea about, let's say you run a business and you have 10 employees, you have 5 that are outperforming everybody, and you have 5 that are underperforming. The question, who would you want, like, where should you put your attention? So you could say you should put the attention in the underperforming because maybe they have more potential. So you see that as something good to do, or so you can focus on that, or you can the argument of focusing on the overperforming is that you can really when you amplify them, you can really exponentially increase their productivity since they're already showing that and doing that. So, and that seems to be something that is maybe, like, in terms of actual research shows that that's like a better move in terms of net productivity. So it's interesting, kind of like thinking about the 11th rule, that it's like amplify the voices, amplify those who are already showing these gracious behaviors so that they can really shine even more.
That makes sense. If we're supposed to be bringing light into the world, and there's people that are already doing well in areas that will do that, like you said with the business analogy, that makes sense that you would want to amplify their ability more because they're going to actually use it that way.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about level 11.
So we have 12. And 12 is, Sandy, like you mentioned, how did he title it? Remember where they came from.
Yeah.
So yeah, the heritage, the history. He has a metaphor of the rollover minutes like on a phone plan. Yeah, and I feel so. The note that I wrote for myself here is that in a lot of these, I think with the final level too, but in other levels as well, like the core, for example, a lot of them I feel like they touch on this concept that can be articulated as like interacting with the good side, or the seed, the part of the person which is good, the part which is good in the person, or the good side of the person. And it's different angles to get, like, if you don't see it from their heritage, maybe you can see it from previous deeds that they did. If you can't see it from previous deeds that they did, maybe you can see it from when they were a baby. That's the next one. So it's all kind of like ways of really trying to like help you focus in on that. And I found that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a intuitive thing, I think, for most of us to think about people's ancestors and then offer and then have forgiveness because of that, you know?
Yeah.
And so the level didn't resonate super strongly. I mean, I get the point. It's kind of I guess that was novel, to think of it that way. But I didn't have a ton of people that came to mind. I mean, for a lot of people, you just don't know where they came from, right? Random people in your life who, you don't know their provenance,
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I mean, the only the small example that I can think of like maybe when I was like a kid, like younger, when I was, like 13, I wouldn't really want to play with this kid, but who was like a little younger than me, and he really wanted to play with us. But I knew his brother, and his brother was nice. So I was like, okay, whatever, we'll get in the team, So in that way, it's like that's they have the merit of that, but it's hard to think like the far back or connect people to that. It's also I mean, there's obviously from the darker side, like the negative is that it can also be there's ways where this can be misused by people, right? So that's also something to kind of like watch for, where people might take advantage of their history, their ancestors, their father or their mother, to excuse or to get off scot-free from whatever thing they did. So that I don't know, something to think about.
Any thoughts on level 12, Sandy?
Not beyond what I said in the last chapter and what Ben was talking about now. It's I was just thinking about what he said about appropriate and and misuse of you can take advantage of name dropping your parents somewhere, or just you come from a really nice family, so you kind of use that as the same thing happens in reverse too, like people who feel like they've come from a less than desirable family will sometimes use that as an excuse for not trying, like they just kind of own that negativity, and that's
Right.
kind of bad.
Yeah, and I think that talks to there's a metaphor here about with the seed or whatever else, a line. You can pull that line whether it's negative or positive. You can pull the line of like, my father was a thief and his father was a thief and they're all, so I can pull that line and I can continue that line, or you can use it, or you can positively, or you can use it in a positive way. So it's all seeds are yeah, you can use seeds, you can grow different things. So I guess we have our final level, lucky number 13.
Not to be confused with lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7.
I mean, 13's bad luck.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's 13th floor,
Mm-hmm.
Friday the 13th.
Well,
This was a short one.
Yeah.
But I was very struck by it.
Really? How so?
I mean, just going so far as to remember that everyone was a baby once. Everyone had a time of innocence and purity.
Mm-hmm.
And if nothing else, you can go back and think to that time. And I don't know. That was a powerful thought. And again, like, not something I often would catch myself doing.
Yeah.
Having to like dig that deep.
Somebody's a baby. Yeah, like you were fighting with somebody and you're like, huh, I can see you as a baby. And you were much more innocent.
Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, there's truth to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's encouraging to remember that God thinks of us in that way too, or can think of us in that way.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point. Yeah, go ahead.
So I thought it was actually a very fitting level to end on, and was pleasantly surprised by it. And because I didn't read ahead, so I did my reading this afternoon, and I wouldn't call it a plot twist exactly, but it was like just that very succinct final level where it was like, whoa, okay. So, spoiler alert, but yeah, it ends on a pretty profound note, I thought. Did you guys hear a bunch of background noise?
yeah, it sounds like there's a helicopter overhead.
Okay, maybe that's me. Hold on, I'm gonna reconnect. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I was about to say,
I can still hear it. Can you hear it?
I can hear it a little bit, yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
There's nobody else on this stream that I can see. So yeah, so it's like, I don't know if it's like maybe it's StreamYard throwing some noise at us. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, Jonathan kind of reminded me.
It's still here.
I think the helicopter is still here. Is it bad? For me, it's like it's not too.
Did it go away and then come back, or has it been there the whole time?
I think
Full time.
Okay.
Can you hear something now?
Yeah, I hear it.
But yeah.
No, a little bit.
You mute, Ben. Try it. It's gone.
Ah.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's back.
Okay. Let me do this. No.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, my microphone here.
Yeah, I've had it happen in the past too. It goes kind of wonky, and then you got to reset it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna respond to what you said, Jonathan. Actually, reminded me. I was going over this, and I don't remember exactly. let me just respond to what you said when you said like that we need to remember that God looks at us this way. Then that actually makes me think that, you know, what we said of how we view people, it's different. We can look at people and we can use these different angles to view them, right? They might still be good. I can, you know, I can I can offer, I can forgive them because they did a good deed before. They have a core of goodness, or the merit of their family, or just the merit of them being innocent at some point in their lives. And in the same way, if we think of God looking us in that way, we can also ourselves look at ourselves that way. When we need to either forgive ourselves or even to change our ways, right? To repent, which, like we read with Soloveitchik, where he says it's like a creative thing, right? Because you're recreating yourself. So we can like try to like lean into that core, that seed that would get us out of the slump, out of whatever transgressions or whatever we have that we're feeling bad about. And we can think about, I was innocent at one point in my life, so how can I get back to, how can I like reconnect to that, or what went wrong in a, you know, in a self-reflective but not over a judgmental way. Or how can I reconnect to like the good part in my heritage and what was good about it, and how can I, you know, how can I amplify that? How can I like bring that to life within myself? So that was a good point, Jonathan.
Do you think you guys are going to review the steps from time to time? See if you...
I was gonna pop the quiz to the group, like who memorized the 13
Oh shoot!
the 13 levels. I did not. Okay.
No,
Yeah, it's tough.
no, I do not have them memorized.
I haven't seen the do you like the liturgy, the Noahide liturgy? Is it there? Because I do, like, I read it, and now actually I was thinking about it. I do try to dwell in it a little bit more when I read like the morning prayers, and maybe it's somewhere else as well, where you mention the 13 principles, even when you're not with like 9 other people, but you mentioned them. So I'm kind of trying to, as I'm saying it, I'm trying to remember what it actually means from the perspective of Cordovero as well. So that's one way to connect with it. Maybe, I don't know if you haven't seen the liturgy, the Noahide liturgy book. If it had, I'm sure it would have an expression there. I would think.
Like this one?
Yeah, okay. I would assume it would have that because it's.
I'm not very far into it yet, but I'll keep an eye out for it. I mean, meantime, I was just going to take a screen, like copy paste, take a screen grab of the book, and then just like put it somewhere that I would like revisit from time to time. I'm not sure that I'm actually going to train myself to memorize them like a poem, but I think it's good to just get it in the repertoire to revisit.
Yeah. What did I want to say?
The book doesn't make for great discussion fodder.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching a movie like Tree of Life or something, or like I can't, like what else, like just one of those like more aesthetic experiences where it's like we all just kind of read the same book and experienced the same thing, and we just kind of get into the stream where we're like, yeah. Like,
yeah, because it doesn't necessarily try to reconcile different ideas or bring together things. It's like very
it's not super propositional. It's not super. There's not a whole lot of like information. There's not a story. There's not much to left up for interpretation.
Yeah,
it's very, very straightforward. Almost, the word dry is wrong, but like it doesn't lend much for discussion other than like things that end up becoming very like idiosyncratic and maybe personal to the point of TMI or just like, I don't know, not particularly hard to tie in the relevance. But like we all know, it's like an intuitive understanding of what's being driven at without a whole lot of like without a lot of additional gloss that can be added. It's like I don't know what to add to the text. It's relatively short, straightforward, like.
Yeah.
And we're reading a commentary, so it's like, and a competent commentary too. So there's not, what am I going to add, to Dr. Abramson?
I think the thing I did like about it is, I did like the way it broke the process of forgiveness down into different elements. I think I liked that because of some of my background where there was a lot of different things to forgive, but the way it's phrased is you simply do it. And if you don't do it, like very well, then they just in like when I look back in the Christian context, then they imply that it should be going easier because all has been done for you. And I'm like, then why? It's, like there's still this disconnect. Whereas when I read this and I look at the different, for all that it is extremely simple and not, a lot to discuss in some ways because it's straightforward and we all kind of know that we get into these spots where we need to know it. I really like that it gave different labels to things, you look at the first, and the fact that it threw two concepts at me in every chapter. Like when you look at the king who endures insult, and then level 1 is the God who is like you. And I'm like, wait, this is the same concept. Why have they labeled it two different ways? And so I did enjoy that because instead of just saying to me, hey, here's the one word, forgive, now go do it. It actually gave me opportunity to think about what the elements of that are and what does it look like in different circumstances. So that I did like about it.
Yeah, same.
Definitely various ways to look at forgiveness, what it means, how to do it, the different perspectives involved in it, forgiving yourself, forgiving others forgiving you. Obviously, God's perspective and what you can take from it and how you can imitate it. So it's, and yeah, with every level you can probably apply it, like be in the different perspective. Like how can the forgiver can look at this, can use this? How can the forgiven,
yeah.
How does the unforgiven? So all that can, like, there's a lot to think about that as you dive deeper into it. But yeah, I feel like Henry Abramson's like point though about, like, I really just use 6, 5, and 11. He was like, yeah, like these are the ones that fit me. And I think he says Cordovero also kind of like says about that. Like use, like try to find the things that are easier for you, and maybe start with them. So I might need to look at that to make it easier.
Good idea, yeah.
To make it practical.
No Trey today either. No Trey to
No,
jump in and spice it up.
Yeah, we didn't get it. We didn't get a visit.
No. He did say he was going to be busy, but
Yeah.
It's nice when he pops in with his hard questions.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. I'm just so curious what he would come up with for these 3 levels. It's like they seem like they're impenetrable to out there questions, but could be wrong. Trey, if you're listening to this in the future, bring it.
We want the questions.
Bring it to the Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was our final session on this book.
Mm-hmm.
I know we didn't really discuss yet like any follow-ups, but for us and the people that are watching, and I think it looks like the previous stream we had like a 50 odd people. So if people are interested, we could probably use some more engagement because like if people want to actually participate, because for me also it's kind of hard to like jumpstart this. So we'll see. I might not like start this up. I don't know if like we might take a little pause, or if we actually have a book and we want to start, we can see how we want to run with this.
Yeah, we should think about possible book, possibly a format change, or a media change. Like, what if we did a series on a video series, or something else? I don't know. I want to think about it a little bit. I might not be ready to jump into another book already in 2 weeks for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was the other book by the Rav that we were considering prior?
Or
was there one?
By Soloveitchik? Is it on repentance? Andrew kept asking for repentance.
Right. I think that was that might have been the title, On Repentance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we getting out of this? And what do we want to get out of this would be one of the questions I have for how we choose books too, is like Jacob asked a few times, a couple of books ago, about whether to do one on history or one on like more personal story sort of things, look at a biography. Do we benefit from doing something like that? There's a lot of other stuff going on since we started this project. So
yeah. I bought a copy of Hasidic Masters that I want to read. I'm going to read regardless. That was on the list. I think that was actually decided until Jacob basically just pulled rank and
you have it up.
Said, "Here, read this book." And P.S. I'm not gonna participate.
Yes.
I mean, like, look, if we had a book, we have a book club in the Discord, and like, people are like, hey, I'm going to read this book, and other people want to read the book. We could do more asynchronous discussions. I mean, that can be tougher for some people to like type up walls of text and then read walls of text. I think, we're not necessarily trying to like, get people to hit the like and subscribe or something every time we do a discussion. But I think books that are maybe more, I don't know, like what would be I mean, book clubs, like in my experience, have been, it's like everyone reads a novel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what'd you think? Like, what do you think is going to happen? And like, what do you think of so and so's interaction with thus and such? And like, like you can just
read the book.
That's different. But when we're reading nonfiction or like spiritual works, it's like heavy and or like just what's there to say? Like yeah, I learned this. I don't know. So I'm thinking like, do we want stuff that's more accessible so more people can follow along? If people watch this after the fact, I mean, there's, that's why I thought there was some benefit of like recapping a bit of the book. So like if you're not reading the book, but you're listening to us kind of like, stumble through it, at least you can get the, we can at least just review the content before the discussion too.
Mm-hmm.
So a few things to think about. Isn't there like an unspoken rule of like this little corner stuff of like no homework? And this is like
Andrew said something about that on one of the Discord things there.
Yeah, I think that's like a PBK catchphrase or something. No homework. But this is definitely homework, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of at least thinking about also other forms of media.
Yeah,
I like the setting. I mean, I enjoy talking to both of you and the other people that come that go up here because I don't get to talk to you much outside.
Yeah.
So that's why I appreciate it. So I just need an excuse. The excuse that it at least is interesting to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we could certainly try to make a bi-weekly excuse to get together and chat about stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll figure out the format. The slot we can keep the programming slot.
Yeah, maybe let's ruminate on it, and other people ruminate as well if you have suggestions for content format.
Yeah, that's right. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
If you want Trey back, then also, definitely leave a comment. Let us know, and so we'll make sure that Trey shows up each time.
Yeah.
People don't tune in, and they're like, "What? I thought I thought he was in the show. Like, I don't."
Where's Trey? Yeah.
Where's Trey? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should do like a monologue at the end or something.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 12 minutes left before like the full hour. Should we fill the space here? What are we doing? I got nowhere to be.
Same.
This is carved out time. This is like highly negotiated time here, guys.
I don't know. Hasidic Masters. I need to look at that.
What? Tell me what it's about. I mean, it's got to be about all the different rabbis.
I think it's
the ones who everybody knows, except for those of us who don't.
Yeah. I think it's a series of short biographies.
That would actually be kind of cool.
Let's look it up. Hasidic Masters. History, biography, thought. This is a very fine presentation of the various leading Hasidic masters, including their teachings. It is far better than the well-known works of. Oh, this looks like first Google result is a Amazon review.
An Amazon review. Oh, nice.
I mean, Jacob's always trying to push Hasidicism on everybody, right? Although he's the one that he squelched the book, but I think he put it on the list.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to summon him or anything.
So how is that book similar to or different from the early rundown that Chezi gave us in the Noahide stream when he was going through the different lists of rabbis? Is that got a lot, some of the same on it, or is this a different group of people being highlighted here?
I don't remember the list. Was it?
I don't either. I just remember it was,
Chezi,
in the Noahide.
Yeah, he gave us an intro to kind of.
I think I watched it. I think
Shalom. I think it's a different set of rabbis, and I think it's an older set, and it's a more a vertical within Jewish history.
Mm-hmm.
There could be some overlaps, but I don't think it's the same cast of characters.
Okay, I have to say I'm really enjoying getting a collection of books that have really interesting covers. The real deal. It's an actual book.
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all feel about this one? I think it's. I would judge a book by its cover.
I mean, was this self-published?
I don't think so, but it's casual, kind of.
It is casual.
It's an independent publisher.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in as much as it kind of reflect the idea of a seed on how it can grow, then I like it, but I can definitely see.
Was this a date palm plant?
I know, that's what I was going to ask. Is that what it is?
I mean, a date palm is like a palm tree is a gigantic tree. I don't know if it gets how. Yeah.
It's got to start somewhere, though, right?
It does, yeah, that's true. Yeah, elephants start, I guess, also start somewhere. I don't know. I'm not good in these things. I just remember being hit by date falling from palm trees. That's what I remember growing up.
Hit by them?
Hit by them, and also they really mess up the street. They squish.
We don't have that problem in the Midwest. We have like berries and I mean, we do go through like.
Do you have like chestnut trees, walnut trees, things that can suddenly sneeze and drop nuts on your head?
Oh, I mean, there's like 13 seasons of fall up here in Michigan where it's just some tree is dumping some kind of thing. It's like it's like a pine cone, it's a berry, it's a needle, it's it's not just leaves. The leaves are the easy parts. Yeah. It's the springtime.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, every place has its pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Well, it's the end.
It is.
That's all, folks.
Cool.
I'm gonna do that. Was that Bugs Bunny imitation or whatever it was?
A quote, not an imitation. But I'm not gonna do my Porky Pig impression on live TV here. All right. Well, I'm gonna end the stream.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk on Discord. Bye.